Discourse 5. I greet you in the name and power of light, your own life that gives action to your physical body. Today, let us hold so close within the acknowledgement in each one's feeling world of their own God presence that gives them life, the mighty I am, that you may, while the messenger is voicing my words to you, allow me to charge into your world the qualities that you require for your future activity. You have, beating your heart, the power of light, the most practical thing that life presents. Without that presence of life, which actually beats your heart, acting within it, you would not have a physical body here, neither would there be any on the earth today. Mankind, for thousands of centuries, have forgotten this. But today it has been my privilege to call the attention of mankind once again to their own presence of life, the source of their intelligence, the source of their strength, the source of their limitless energy, and the power and action of life. One day, I too stood in a limited physical body. Can you imagine for 1 minute just what it would mean to be wholly free in a body of light substance that you could take anywhere in the universe that you cared to go, that you could go firsthand and gain the information concerning all the powers and activities of life? Such is my privilege, hence my ability to give assistance to mankind as I did to Washington, Lincoln, and all that was required for the protection of America. Today, gentlemen, be reminded that those days, while there were victories, there is no comparison to the conditions that mankind are facing today. Greatly were those pioneers to be commended for their courage, strength, and victory that were won then. But if mankind is to stand idly by today and let all those great victories of 200 years be undone, then it is tragic indeed. The ascended masters, the legions of light, the great cosmic beings, and the great cosmic light have come to the assistance of mankind to give the protection to America, to give you individually limitless assistance, providing you will do a few of the simple things life requires. Not our request, but the call of your own life. Why do you think the ascended masters have come forth now in such a tangible manner to give assistance to mankind? Because mankind are unable to help themselves, not understanding. And when they do come to understand, they are beset by doubts and fears of old, long momentums, which are gathered energy charged with fears, doubts, and all those conditions that make for the unmaking of mankind instead of for their strength and achievement. Therefore, if you will allow me, today I shall try and point out to you how easy, natural, and how imperative it is at this time to give recognition. As I talk to you, observe that chart so you may understand and have the eye picture before you of the reality I am talking about, because mankind today is entering in, and I mean by that those who have never touched this understanding, thousands, hundreds of thousands, are entering in through the feeling world and will come into this acceptance of this great presence of life. Therefore, today, remember that you are the presence of light acting through every one of those bodies. As you will give obedience to the requirement of each one's life, first in accepting in your feeling that your individualized God presence, the mighty I Am, is above you, whose light, energy, and intelligence is the reality that is acting through each human form, and that it is practical. The most practical thing there is. Then, having given acceptance, come now to understand that the conditions that have been acting in your feeling world have been the discord which has prevented this great, powerful, pure, perfect energy harmonizing your world and giving you success that everyone should have. It is not a matter of your particular desire, but life in itself is always successful when left uninterrupted. Now then, all that stands between you today and myself is your feeling and your thought. The thought is but a fragmentary part, but your feeling is the principal thing that stands between you in your limited activity today and myself in my inner form. When you understand that and create and hold maintained harmony in your feelings, then when you call this power of the I Am into action, its mighty energy, intelligence, power, and light will flow forth into your world, harmonizing and producing the success you require. That is the only intelligence and energy that can act to do it. Now remember, gentlemen, you have given all power to the outside world, to human beings, to conditions, to officials, to authorities, to everything but the power that is the governor of the universe. Now, that does not mean that you should not give obedience to the laws of man insofar as it is a convention that is necessary to hold the human of mankind in check. But when it comes to the activities and powers of light, give your attention to the great presence that is the only power that can make for you anything you desire. The unfortunate thing, and of course it has been human creation that has driven mankind further and further away into the egotistical, silly, human nonsense, that it was unmanly to acknowledge deity, to acknowledge God. Gentlemen, that ignorant and silly thing is but a human being who says that. God is the power that gives you life and a physical body, and the human being or the nation that ignores God in its world will dissolve and disappear from the earth, and it is the downfall of every civilization that has ever been on the face of this earth. Concerning the condition in Russia today, gentlemen, if you knew and saw the truth of it, you would not sleep. You do not know 1/100th part of the tragedy that is going on there. You have no idea of the tragedy which has gone on in Spain. We see and know the conditions going on in the Orient today. That which we term the sinister force is a gathering and gathering of the forces and power of destruction for wholesale destruction. They are gathering and gathering power that will one day fan the arrogance and ignorance of the people to attempt to drive its mighty destruction into your country, America. If you saw and knew, as I do, the conditions that are moving in your world today, the international spy system, which is stealing from you your heart's secrets, stealing the secrets from every nation that has made progress, the people would wake up. Mankind should awaken. There is only one power in the universe that can even make the people alert to these things. There is only one power that can make them able to prevent such things. That is their call to this mighty presence, the mighty I Am. It will so prompt them and make them alert and on guard that even by the feeling touching a man in the outer world, they will know the motive which is there. That is what mankind needs today. There are thousands in America who are sufficiently sensitive in their feelings to detect the motive of an individual who comes with a destructive intent to your country. Let me tell you, gentlemen, every agitator, for whatever pretext in America, is a claw of that sinister thing that has its hold upon Europe today, subtly in every conceivable pretext. Look at the unions today in America that were once established to give assistance and were honorable. And look today. That sinister thing has driven in there. The blessed ones who are following the direction of that agitation do not see what they are being dragged into. Now, many are awakening to the thing that has driven in and deprived them, with no accomplishment in the world, depriving their families of food. The conditions of inharmony make for the destruction of the individual, yet no thing of any consequence can be achieved through that communistic element, only destruction. Gentlemen, do not be deceived by it, and wherever you have an opportunity to put people right, try to do it. Therefore, if it were not for the divine assistance that is endeavoring to give the protection to America, America would have been in the throes of agony today. Make no mistake about it. We know the time has come when mankind have to know the conditions they are facing in order to understand and begin to call the great power of light into action to dissolve and govern these conditions, which the human cannot possibly do. There is no human in existence today that can ever achieve anything of any consequence without the knowledge of this presence, because life has taken its stand. Mankind have been given free will and a long period and the opportunity to choose how they were going to use this energy, and they have mostly been using it destructively. I mean by that, by allowing anger, criticism, and condemnation to charge their feeling worlds, which is wholly destructive and is the only thing that prevents health, achievement, and strength in the activity of mankind. These are simple laws, but they are almighty insofar as your individual life is concerned and that of the nation. A nation is the activity of men's minds. And to think that a few individuals can lead millions of people around by the nose. That day is past, gentlemen. The great cosmic light that is charging the atmosphere of Earth and the great assistance of the cosmic beings and the ascended masters are charging into the feeling world of mankind this awakening and resistance to these terrifically destructive forces. Now, gentlemen, remember, you are not dealing with anybody's opinions, whether it is human or our own, but you are dealing every moment of your life with energy and substance qualified. The sooner you wake up to it, the sooner you are going to handle the powers and conditions governing your individual activity, and you cannot do it until you understand. Persons, places, and conditions are blamed for the things that exist, but the qualification of energy and substance that goes through human beings is the actual cause. It is true. There are the forces that you are dealing with. Without substance and energy to be requalified, the feelings and thoughts of mankind would not amount to anything. But this energy of life that is flowing forth through each human form before it touches the head of the individual is wholly pure and perfect and will produce health and perfection if left alone. But as long as this, which is a feeling, is intensified in mankind, mankind are clothing themselves with discord, and unless they stop it, they will continue in limitations as long as they continue to embody. I have watched civilizations come and go. The cause is identically the same every time. You, gentlemen, should be interested in knowing that in the beginning of the financial downfall of every nation is excess taxation. That is the claw of the sinister force that takes the very life substance out of individuals until they crumple under the lack of financial supply they need. Then these sinister things get their claws on the neck of mankind, and the civilizations perish. That is what is happening in Spain, England, Russia, and the Orient today. Will you believe me when I say to you that there are 5 individuals in the world today who are the power of the world in the human octave? Their subtle claws have gone among mankind by fear. First, by a pretense of blessing to gain their fear over mankind, and through that hold their dominion. Just as your gangsters in the cities today have held their dominion over individuals by fear, and when somebody has the courage to rise up and call them for what they are, the destructive individuals disappear, and their powers stop. I tell you, mankind must awaken and stand together against these nefarious things. Gentlemen, you might say to me, well, in my position today, what could I do? Suppose you have very limited finances, and suppose your position in life is not so impressive from the human sense, and you say to me, well, what could I do? Gentlemen, in the name of your God, you can do one of the most powerful things in the world. Issue these mighty decrees that go forth in the mental and feeling world of mankind, and you will render a service that you cannot imagine. Because that power of your presence is light called forth, vibrating just like waves going through the mental and feeling world of mankind, toughening the feeling of mankind and stirring them with the power of light, which is not destructive. Dear people, agitation only means war, but calling the presence into action, the power of light and love, means peace and victory that is eternal. Every agitation that stirs up war repeats and repeats and repeats itself, lifetime after lifetime, civilization after civilization. And what is the result? Cutting off the life stream of individuals who came into embodiment for a definite purpose, but who were instead sent forth by vicious individuals as cattle to the slaughter for no reason except for a few vultures to fill their pockets with a little more gold. That is all. There never has been a real cause for war on the earth. It is the sinister claws of mankind that watch for some simple opportunity to fan the anger and disturbance of mankind, and then a war of nations goes on. Let us awaken, gentlemen, in the name of your God, your light, and give this assistance through these mighty decrees. Even if you are in the privacy of your own home and you would issue these decrees with intense power and feeling, you do not have to issue them so loudly, but in a low, masterful tone, put forth these decrees for mankind, and every moment you have, put them forth silently. To voice them is better, but where you cannot, then silently give this assistance to mankind. You have no idea what it would do. Only a few of mankind, so long steeped in human concepts and ignorance of the great powers of life, yet understand that anyone who ever achieved anything in life received it from the Ascended Master's octave. Every businessman in America today who achieved financial success had the power and radiation of the rays of light from the Ascended Master's octave, and many times in thinking that they were fulfilling a selfish purpose, they were serving that which the Ascended Masters knew was most needed for mankind. Why do you suppose the wealth was accumulated in certain channels? Because there were not enough of humanity who would harmonize and agree in order to allow the achievements of the outer world that were needed to be accomplished. Therefore, one individual was given wealth enough to go ahead and accomplish the thing without interference. That accounts for your highways today, for your railroads, for your airplanes, and the conditions that make for your rapid transportation. Look at the difference between your horse and buggy and the airplane today. If that was achieved in 40 years, then think what it would be if your God presence were called into action. The achievement of the next 20 years would be so far in advance that your comprehension could not imagine it today. That is what would happen if mankind would awaken and call this presence of life into action and let it act in the world and in the government. The minute men of Saint Germain do me great honor, and now I shall say something startling to you. Today, the number of men who have come into this activity could move the conditions of the earth if you were in a position to gather together and issue these mighty decrees in one body. The Minutemen who have already come into this activity in America are sufficient to control conditions and bring divine justice everywhere in the industrial world and in the commercial world. You can govern conditions and dissolve all that causes distress and limitation in your land. Now, gentlemen, while you are on your feet, just let this mighty infinite power of the victory of your life, of light, charge into your bodies and your feeling world. Take its dominion there and give you that power and enthusiasm, that energy and determination and fearlessness that know no opposition. In that power of light, don't rush physically into things, but stand calm and serene in the call to your presence of light, and let that mighty fire of life burn its way before you in its mighty power of radiation. Then, when you physically move forward, you will find the way harmonious and clear for every human being who will give their attention to the power of life. Call it into action and harmonize their feeling. That is what I want you to do. Gentlemen, do not minimize the feminine activity of life. They are the feeling activity of the world, and the feminine activity represents that. Now, with their great cooperation in this great activity that America and the world needs today, as they charge forth, for instance, the daughters of light, as they charge forth their mighty decrees into the feeling world of mankind, think what that power of feeling will do in the mental and feeling world of mankind to awaken them and give them the strength, power, and courage to issue these mighty decrees and wake them up to act in the activity of the government. Please be seated, gentlemen. Now, let me show you from the retreat in Arabia, Chananda's home high in the Himalayas, from the royal Teton in your own blessed country, and from South America come these great rays of light focused into America, focused into Washington. And when I took the messengers there this last time, an achievement indescribable was accomplished. I have recently walked the streets in Washington, D.C. in my own tangible body, visible to everybody, changing my appearance so I was not recognized, of course, but when it is necessary, I can, by that, charge forth the energy to change the feeling of mankind. With your cooperation, which is the call of mankind for their freedom from perishing, then the ascended masters, thousands of them, stand ready to give their assistance and move among mankind. One day, when things are harmonious enough, I will come forth in that tangible body and shake your hand and thank you for your cooperation and assistance for the blessing mankind needs. Do not question it for a second. Just because you do not see me, I plead with you, don't think me unreal or not tangible. I could, by raising my hand, exert a force in this room that would lift every one of you out of your seats. But what would be the good of it? The call for America, for her protection, and for your freedom is the thing. Then, as you give attention to your presence, beloved gentlemen, then all these other things will follow. Life produces everything, even in precipitation, and all that I am able to do. One day I shall spread a banquet table before you. Throughout the years and during Washington's time, my determination was very great in giving that assistance when mankind was at the point of perishing. Then came that success after that great struggle for freedom, and the light bursting forth through the hearts of mankind. Now today, when it is the final victory of all the ages, then, gentlemen, may I not have your cooperation to the fullest extent of your call to your mighty I Am presence, that I may render my humble assistance to the victory of the light? It could not be achieved without our assistance, because we alone know the forces that are acting. We alone know how to release the power, the energy of life at your call, because you cannot yet release it in its fullness except in a few instances, and perhaps under an emergency. But if you will give me your attention, and the ascended masters, first to your presence, then to us, then will we be able, by the release of your energy, and remember, gentlemen, whether it is in your business, whether it is in your government, or whether it is in the conquering of these conditions, the imperative need is for some of your physical energy, which is your life, to be released, that we may amplify that to do the things in the physical octave that are required. It is imperative. Without that, we could not do it, because mankind have placed themselves in that condition by lack of understanding, and you have to pay it back now. You have to give back to life all you have taken. Think of it. No one is to blame, but mankind has accepted life, embodiment after embodiment, and not an I thank you. Not once, just taking it for granted that life was supposed to flow. Well, you were given free will to use that energy. Energy in itself does not discriminate. It flows. And if you do not choose how it is going to act, then it just flows forth like that with no particular accomplishment of any kind. But when you realize that you are the one who must determine whether that energy is going to act constructively or destructively for you, then you become the master of the energy that is flowing into your world. And you can direct it constructively. That is victory. Notice the difference. Now notice this, gentlemen, because it is imperative. When you have allowed this energy to flow forth, it is like a fan going in all directions through the power of your radiation, or its radiation through you. Then notice the difference in your acknowledgement of your presence of all life. You have your power of concentration and attention, which is your life. If you hold your attention upon a given objective for its accomplishment and hold it there unwaveringly, the power of life is compelled to flow directly into that. If you will hold that concentration and attention absolutely, unyieldingly into that objective, there is nothing in creation that can prevent its achievement. Not one thing, gentlemen. If you want to succeed in your business or whatever your attention is upon, train yourself to hold your attention upon the goal and compel the life to flow into that. By harmony in your feelings, it will accomplish amazing things. Once you have broken through the human shell and find one small achievement after another, then the strength and courage arise in you, and you will say, I am the victory of life. Then, as you continue to hold that concentration or attention, where the direction of life flows into that without wavering, just the same as when you take a sunglass and move it around, nothing happens, but you see the light move. If you hold it still, that power of light from the sun will start a fire. Just exactly as the power of your attention is held on the concentration that becomes the fire of life that sets ablaze the energy for its perfect achievement. That is why mankind have not achieved, because they have allowed their attention to be taken here or there, except once in a while they come back to that goal, but only for a short time. Again, the attention wavers here, there, and everywhere instead of being held steady. And why? Because the human accumulation of mankind does not want mankind to hold concentration long enough to let them find out they are the master of that energy and life that flow through by the power of their concentration. That, gentlemen, is the secret of life. You have no idea, unless you try it out, the power that actually exists within one of your physical bodies today, even as you stand. Think of it. The light that beats your physical heart is directly connected with the powerhouse of the universe, your mighty I am. And by harmony in your feelings and attention there, you cause that energy to flow with an ever-increasing power and firmness. Do you not see that the energy which goes forth from you can be charged with any quality? It can be charged with firmness. It can be charged with achievement, because all that energy is self-luminous, intelligent substance that goes forth. You don't see that physically, but yet it is so. That energy is self-luminous, intelligent substance that goes forth, and you qualify it with the achievement desired, because you are to determine how that is going to act in your world. That is why mankind is given free will. They have to choose. It is not a matter of can you or will you, but you have to do it. Until mankind learns they must do it, they don't. They believe something will come along and take care of them. No, gentlemen, it won't do it. I have known individuals and have watched them. They had this idea. They would not pay particular attention, but because they had gathered a momentum and a tremendous charge of energy in a former embodiment, that energy flowed forth because it was already qualified. But as soon as that is exhausted, they are like a punctured balloon. That is what mankind does not understand, because it is life that flows. Many times in former embodiments, you have gathered tremendous energy. Some have, others have not. And when one has tremendous accomplishment in this life, it is because he has charged his world with tremendous energy. Take your financiers today who have made great financial success. Do you think they did that in this embodiment? Gentlemen, no. Some of those individuals for 3 or 4 lifetimes previous had longed for and desired great wealth. They built and gained that momentum which, in this life, took possession. Why, gentlemen? Now notice, in almost every case, that child started out, almost always, as an orphan. Now notice this. Many of them were orphans, with no finances in the family or anything, but that great momentum surged forth through that child's body, and they began as boot blacks. They became newsboys. And look what that energy did for them, not because it was built this time, but because that energy had been called forth and charged in previous embodiments for that specific quality. The great desires of one lifetime become the compelling power of the next. Now then, gentlemen, look not only for your achievement today in your individual conditions and even the freedom of mankind in America, but farther beyond that is the goal. That is only just a part of the activity of life, but in your goal is the freedom of all life, your ascension, forever free from human limitations and re-embodiment. Until your ascension is made, you will come again and again into embodiment until that is done. No human being in the world escapes it. The wheel of birth and rebirth comes until mankind has made the ascension. And remember, the human has nothing in the world to do with that except to acknowledge the God presence, the mighty I am of all life. Keep their feelings harmonious and keep giving attention to it. The very power of that life anchored within your heart begins its mighty expansion. Then, as enough of that life is expanded in the body, the earth will lose its attraction for it. And by perfectly natural means and natural laws, the power of light of this presence raises the purified body into the higher mental body, then into itself when you become the ascended being, wholly free. It is the most natural thing that ever existed in life. Life is the power that does these things. Life is the power that gives you financial success. Life is the power that gives you happiness. Life is the power that accomplishes everything that is done through the human form. And those who, through arrogance and ignorance, think that they have power in the human form, one day they find that mistake. And just at the height of their achievement, they lay that body down and cannot handle it any longer. Now, gentlemen, what was acting there? There is no human being on earth that can refute what was acting there in that body that has now become helpless. That power and presence of energy and life. Everything that acted through or was achieved through that individual was that presence and power of life acting. Then was that in that physical body or belonging to that human form? It was acting through it, but that human form had not an ounce of energy and power of itself. Then everything that came into being through that individual came through the stream of life and energy as ideas, and then came into form. Think of it. Any human being can prove these laws in their life if they will. But if they don't want to, then they won't have it. But I have brought forth this marvelous instruction that is the freedom of mankind, and every word in those books that has come forth through the messengers is charged with our ascended master consciousness, qualities, and powers. If mankind will understand that, and as they read those words, feel the qualities enter their feeling world and act there, then everyone can quickly raise himself into our power. Then they will allow the power of life to pour forth unqualified. I am very grateful, gentlemen, for this opportunity to offer my humble promptings to you. Will you try to feel the great divine director and myself holding your hand for your achievement, for your freedom, for your success? If you will call to your presence, then call to us or any of the Ascended Masters to give you added strength and courage until you come to the point where you sustain it yourself by your call to the presence. We gladly give it. We project a light ray to you. It makes no difference where we are. It will reach us. We do not want you to depend upon us. You must call to your presence first. Then if you need assistance, the Ascended Masters gladly give it. But we cannot allow you to depend upon us, or the same old conditions will arise. But as you call to your presence first, then to us, we give you the courage and strength until you begin to see or feel your own ability to make the call. Then the power of your victory is the power of light. Will you not see that? Gentlemen, feel that we are tangible. When you need us and our light rays are projected to you, they are as tangible as any physical thing. Try to feel that, and in that you will have the courage and strength and fearlessness to go forward dauntless and victorious in everything. I offer you my love, my gratitude, and blessings that you care to listen to me. If you will accept the victory that has been charged into your feeling world today, I am sure you will awaken tomorrow morning quite a different being than you were today. In the continuation of this day, in the mighty radiation that will be released into this room, feel the victory of life in you. In the name of your mighty I Am Presence, the great number of Ascended Masters, the legions of light, the great cosmic beings, and the great cosmic light, I pour their blessings upon you, that you may accept and feel the all-powerful activity in your feeling world, your dominion over your human self, and your positive determination to hold your feeling harmonious, that your call to the presence will fill your life and being with the perfection and power of the presence in that great, calm serenity that allows its power of light to be the dominion in your body, in your life, and in your activity. I thank you.